Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 525, The Moped Mistake. Intermediate. It was a warm summer afternoon in the small town of Willowbrook, and 16-year-old Jamie was bored. School was out and his friends were all busy. He wandered the streets, kicking pebbles and scrolling through his phone, looking for something to do. The town was quiet, with only the hum of distant cars and the occasional chirp of birds breaking the silence. Jamie turned a corner onto High Street, where the local shops lined the pavement, their colourful signs advertising ice cream, books and baked goods. Outside the corner shop, Jamie noticed something that made his heart race. A shiny red moped was parked on the side of the road, its helmet dangling from the handlebar. The keys were still in the ignition, glinting in the sunlight. Jamie stopped and stared. The shop was closed and there was no one around. The owner must have popped inside for a moment, he thought. A mischievous idea crept into his mind. He'd never ridden a moped before, but how hard could it be? It looked fun, and the thought of zooming around town made his boredom vanish. Without thinking too much, Jamie glanced around to make sure no one was watching. His hand shook as he grabbed the helmet, slipped it on and swung his leg over the moped. His heart pounded like a drum. He turned the key and the engine sputtered to life. A grin spread across his face. Before he could change his mind, he twisted the throttle and the moped lurched forward. Jamie wobbled at first, nearly crashing into a bin, but he quickly got the hang of it. The wind rushed past his face as he sped down High Street, laughing with excitement. He rode through Willowbrook, weaving between cars and zipping past pedestrians who turned to stare. The moped was fast, much faster than his bicycle, and the freedom felt incredible. He turned onto the riverside road where the water sparkled under the sun, and then looped around the park where kids played football and families picnicked. Jamie felt like he was in a movie, the hero of his own adventure. He didn't think about the consequences, he was too caught up in the thrill. After about an hour, Jamie's excitement started to fade. His hands were sweaty and his stomach churned with a nagging feeling. What if the owner was looking for the moped? What if someone had seen him? He decided to head back toward High Street, but he didn't want to return the moped just yet. Instead, he parked it in an alley behind the shop, hidden between two bins. He took off the helmet, placed it back on the handlebar, and walked away, trying to act casual. His heart was still racing, but now it was from guilt, not excitement. Back at home, Jamie couldn't relax. Every time he heard a car outside, he jumped, thinking it was the police. He imagined the shop owner, angry and worried, searching for their moped. That evening, his mum noticed he was quiet. "What's wrong, love?" she asked, but Jamie just shrugged and said he was tired. He couldn't tell her the truth. He barely slept that night, his mind replaying the joyride over and over. The next morning, Jamie walked back to High Street, his stomach in knots. He wanted to check on the moped. When he reached the alley, his heart sank. The moped was gone. Had the owner found it? Had someone else taken it? He didn't know, but the guilt was overwhelming. He realized how stupid he'd been. It wasn't just a bit of fun, it was stealing, and he could have caused real harm. Over the next few days, Jamie couldn't shake the feeling of regret. He overheard people in the shop talking about the moped's owner, a young woman who needed it for work. She'd been upset but relieved when she found it in the alley. Jamie wanted to confess, but he was too scared. Instead, he promised himself he'd never do something so reckless again. The thrill of the ride wasn't worth the shame he felt now. As the summer went on, Jamie started volunteering at the community centre, helping younger kids with sports. It was his way of making up for his mistake. He learned that actions have consequences, and sometimes a moment of fun can lead to a lifetime of lessons. Vocabulary notes. Mischievous, adjective, definition. showing a playful desire to cause trouble or behave in a way that is slightly naughty but not harmful. Example, a mischievous idea crept into his mind. Explanation. In the story, Jamie's decision to take the moped is described as mischievous because it was a playful but naughty idea, not intended to cause serious harm but still wrong. Similar words, playful, behaving in a fun, light-hearted way, e.g. the children were playful, running around the park. Naughty, behaving badly, often in a playful or harmless way, e.g. the naughty puppy chewed the slipper. Cheeky, slightly rude or bold but in a funny way, e.g. she gave a cheeky grin when she teased her friend. Usage tip. Use mischievous to describe actions that are playful but slightly wrong or bold, often without serious consequences. Sputtered, verb, past tense. Definition. To make a series of soft explosive sounds, often when a machine or engine starts or struggles to work. Example, he turned the key and the engine sputtered to life. Explanation. The word describes the sound the moped's engine made when Jamie started it, suggesting it was a rough or uneven sound as the engine began working. Similar words, coughed, to make a sudden harsh sound, often used for engines or people, e.g. the old car coughed before starting. Spluttered, similar to sputtered, often with a sense of struggling or irregularity, e.g. the boat's motor spluttered in the water. Chugged, to make a steady rhythmic sound, often for a machine, e.g. the train chugged along the tracks. Usage tip. Use sputtered for machines or engines that make irregular popping sounds, especially when starting or malfunctioning. Lurched, verb, past tense. Definition. To move suddenly and unsteadily, often with a jolt or jerk. Example, he twisted the throttle and the moped lurched forward. Explanation. The moped moved suddenly and clumsily when Jamie accelerated, showing his lack of control as a new rider. Similar words, jerked, to move with a sudden sharp motion, e.g. the bus jerked to a stop. Stumbled, to move unsteadily, often used for people walking, e.g. she stumbled over the tree root. Swerved, to move suddenly to avoid something, e.g. the car swerved to miss the dog. Usage tip. Use lurched to describe sudden unsteady movements, especially for vehicles or people losing balance. Churned, verb, past tense. Definition. To feel or cause a strong unsettled feeling, often related to emotions like worry or guilt, can also mean to stir or mix something vigorously. Example, his stomach churned with a nagging feeling. Explanation. Jamie's stomach churned because he felt guilty and nervous about stealing the moped, describing an upset or uneasy feeling in his body. Similar words, twisted, to feel a tight, uncomfortable sensation, often emotional, e.g. her stomach twisted with fear. Knotted, to feel tight or tense, often due to worry, e.g. his stomach knotted when he heard the news. Stirred, to feel a movement of emotion or thought, e.g. her words stirred feelings of regret. Usage tip. Use churned to describe strong emotional discomfort, especially in the stomach or physical mixing actions. Overwhelming, adjective. Definition. Very strong or intense, often too much to handle, can describe emotions, situations, or amounts. Example, the guilt was overwhelming. Explanation. Jamie's guilt was so strong that it felt difficult to cope with, showing the intensity of his emotions after realizing his mistake. Similar words, intense, very strong or extreme, e.g. the pain was intense after the fall. Overpowering, so strong that it takes over other feelings or senses, e.g. the smell of flowers was overpowering. Unbearable, too strong or painful to endure, e.g. the heat was unbearable in the room. Usage tip: use overwhelming for emotions, experiences, or situations that feel very strong and hard to manage. Reckless adjective. Definition: doing something without thinking about the risks or consequences. Careless. Example: he promised himself he'd never do something so reckless again. Explanation: Jamie's act of stealing the moped was reckless because he didn't consider the dangers or consequences, like getting caught or harming someone. Similar words: careless, not paying attention to risks or details, e.g. his careless driving caused an accident. Rash, acting quickly without thinking carefully, e.g. she made a rash decision to quit her job. Irresponsible, not thinking about duties or consequences, e.g. leaving the door unlocked was irresponsible. Usage tip: use reckless to describe actions that are risky or thoughtless, often with potential for harm. Story written by Grok 3 in Steve UK. Image created by Grok 3 AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.